All right, Van. The wear you down rewatchable movies. Movies that you never considered would be in your life when you saw them the first time. It's like, I wrote about this movie for ESPN in 2001. I made fun of it for 3,000 words, but still enjoyed it.
What was your take then on your first viewing of
This is what I wrote in 2001.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting even before it begins. Keanu, Hackman, a cast of motley, cliched characters, some football scenes, and a happy ending. It reminds me of the summer when my old roommate Birdman grew a ghastly goatee, which was best described by our buddy Nick's father as, quote, delightfully unappealing. That's the Replacements. That's what I wrote in 2001. And since then, it's been on. It's like by about 2007, I was like, I think I like this movie. 2012, I texted you about a month ago because it came on after an NBA game and they just went right into the Replacements. And of course, I started watching it and I was like, the Replacements are on. And you were like, oh, I know.
Yeah.
I'm watching with Kalika. How did this happen? How did this become a rewatchable?
Sports culture changed. And so now the Replacements as a movie is actually a relic to how we used to look at sports.
Oh.
When the movie first starts.
When we love scabs.
Kinda. I'm serious.
That's true.
This movie casts the players as the greedy bad guys, the genteel old owner as kind of, at least in the beginning, as the nice guy.
Who's being screwed over by these greedy millionaire players.
By the greedy millionaire players. That's completely changed.
You're right.
So you look at it now, the players are labor. They're the good guys. The owners are these ridiculous capitalist titans. They're the bad guys. So when you look at this movie, there's a quaintness about it because we really do not look at sports, particularly football, like we looked at that stuff when the movie first came out.
I thought we were going to do this later, but I'm glad we're doing it now. So this movie comes out in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
This is a year after the NBA lockout, which pissed people off.
Super
It's
mad.
6 years after the baseball strike, which pissed people off. And the theme was, these guys are so lucky to play sports. How dare they? How dare they think they should be paid whatever? Like, come, just play your games and entertain us. And you're right. In 2024, that's like an impossible theme. It would be like if you made this movie now, you could argue the owner's evil, the replacement players are evil, and the good guys would be these guys trying to basically break up their replacements so they can come back and play the Cowboys and cross the line and settle the strike.
The version of this movie now is the actual players go and start playing in like a flag football league or something like that. It's a different
like
sport.
A billionaire funds
Right.
of flag football games so they can make money. Yeah, that's
like,
a good idea.
It's like they actually go play something different, but it's literally about how they can't get what they want from their owners, and so they have to go do something else. It's definitely not a situation where someone crosses a picket line and becomes a hero. No fucking way.
They flip his car. They throw eggs at the bus.
whole
And you're like,
line.
look at these guys. What jerks throwing eggs at the bus.
The nice players who are striking for more money.
Right.
Or locked out
Well,
or
think
whatever.
about the Eddie Martell character, the villain in this movie, the old
Sure.
quarterback. I don't even know. Like, we'd never have a character like that now.
Right.
We don't even have a person like that in sports.
Well, we do.
Who is it?
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm trying to think. Eddie
just
Martell
a-
as Aaron Rodgers.
Just a deeply unlikable, and look, you guys, I'm not talking about his political or social beliefs. Aaron
Arrogant.
Rodgers is an entitled, arrogant asshole.
teammate. Yeah.
Yeah, like, so he's kind of
Yeah,
that
the what he did
character.
to Mike Williams this year
Yeah.
backs that up.
Yeah, he's
Threw him
ki-
under the bus. Mike Williams catches a touchdown pass for the Steelers, takes shots back at him on Instagram.
Yeah, so that's kind of that guy, but it would take a long time for us to get to the point where we don't like that guy. At the end of the movie where Martell says, hey, I'm an all-pro, 2-time Super Bowl champ. I was like, this guy's pretty impressive, man.
Right.
Like, he's kind of the man.
They said he was the best quarterback in the league and he was an arrogant prick. And yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I can't believe I didn't make the Rodgers connection.
Yeah.
Rodgers is Eddie Martell. It's a good one. Well, the plot was loosely based on the 1987 NFL strike when teams hired scab players. There was the Washington Redskins at the time. They actually got a boost from their strike players, and that helped them I think, eventually win the Super Bowl.
People still came to the games, really kind of destroyed labor in the NFL for all intents and purposes.
Well, they had another strike in '82, which I forgot because I was reading up on this and I was like, I might have this might have been so traumatic, like when something terrible happens to you as a kid and you block it out of your mind, and usually it's something horrible. I think for me, it was the '82 NFL strike. I think it was so traumatic, I blocked it out of my mind. They didn't play football for 8 weeks. And I don't even, in 1982, I'm 13. I don't really remember it because I think I must have been so upset, I just like shelved it in my head. Can you imagine not having football for 8 weeks?
Can you imagine the cataclysm?
If it happened now with the gambling fantasy infrastructure?
With the gambling fantasy thing, if week 2, they just say, fuck it, we on strike, and they don't come back till like week 10.
Craig, what would happen if we had if we had a strike this season starting week 2? Would that be the most traumatic American event of the 21st century?
Yeah, what it would do to fantasy. I mean, it would be the biggest thing since Damar Hamlin ended the Chiefs-Bills game and nobody knew what to do when they had like Jamar Chase or
It'd be that like times 12.
Yeah, it'd be that for 10 straight weeks.
I don't feel like they could be on strike for more than a week because I think people would be so mad. Like so many, tens of millions of people would be like, you guys are ending this now. Like you better get like
everyone we are so football oriented.
People would lose their mind.
But imagine if you could have a new fantasy draft with all the replacement players. That would be actually kind of fun.
That would be
now, but here's something else
like
though.
Shane Falco, second round.
Here's the thing about the replacement players. Now, we get a taste of the replacement players. We see it. We see it in the XFL.
Oh, true.
We see it in the USFL. Brutal. We see it. We see it
with the Panthers.
Play.
Yeah.
It's the quarterback play and the blocking are the two. Yeah, we see it with the Panthers every week. So Keanu Reeves, this kicks off just a bizarre stretch of his career. He's got The Matrix the year before.
Yeah.
So he's got Point Break. He does a bunch of good movies in the 90s. Speed, he becomes an A-lister.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a Devil's Advocate. He's hitting a bunch of them. Matrix kind of goats him for the 90s as like a real A-lister that
becomes a poster boy of a whole type of movie.
You would have bought a ton of stock for him in the 2000s. Like, what's next for this guy? This guy's an A-lister. And then he gives us The Replacements, The Watcher, The Gift, Sweet November, Hardball, a movie we've done on the Rewatchables that we have strong feelings about. Something's Got to Give, Constantine, Echo, A Scanner Darkly, and by 2006, The Lake House. And he's just, that's it. And it kind of starts with this movie where he loses the A-list and doesn't really get it back until John Wick, 2014. This starts a 14-year sabbatical from being an A-lister.
Yeah.
But in 2000, I went to the theater to see The Replacements because Keanu was in it.
Smoking hot. He was just, The Matrix was a game changer in film. He's Draymond Green.
What does that mean? Has
a plethora of tools, but you got to have him in the right situation. So
right. You can't have him. You can't be like, Draymond, we need 35 from you tonight.
No. He's got to be in the right situation. John Wick is perfect. Speed is perfect.
Probably the less words, the better for Keanu.
But when you let him do his thing.
Draymond.
When you let him do his thing, he can give you Hall of Fame characters. But he's not the type of guy that you could put him in Washington, Orlando, or New York, Houston, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer wherever. He's got to be put in the right position. And he learned that throughout the 2000s because all of those roles.
Speed is the perfect role for him.
Kind of speed. There's a Speed, Matrix, John Wick triumvirate.
I throw Point Break in too.
Point Break as well.
Although it's some overacting in there that makes us love Point Break.
But when he's,
I am an FBI agent.
But that works though.
Yeah.
I am an FBI agent. That works though.
It did.
That works. And the rest of the 2000s show me that. And he likes to do the occasional weird movie. He fucks around a little bit.
He did. Yeah, I would say you could even argue he might not have the best taste in scripts. He's made 20 bad movies. Bad.
I know, but I also do think that there's a part of him. He seems like one of those guys who almost doesn't know what the limits of his actual wheelhouse are. Because there are other times where he's in films where you go, like a fantastic performance in, say, Parenthood.
I was going to say Parenthood.
Or a fantastic performance in what's the Gus Van Sant movie? My Own Private Idaho.
Right.
A fantastic performance in Gilbert Grape. You know what I mean? He's in that one, right?
Maybe. He was in one of those around that era.
Whatever. But he's in these films, he tries it a little bit and it works. But in other ones, he tries to get us there and it doesn't come together.
There's something else he brought to the table.
What?
Unintentional comedy.
Right.
It was a huge part of the Keanu package. It's something that Matt Damon doesn't have. Somebody who, I like him, I'm rooting for him, but it's also really funny sometimes when he delivers lines, when he has reactions. Arnold Schwarzenegger was a 100 out of 100 on the unintentional comedy scale. Keanu was in the 90s and has some scenes in this where I don't think he knew who this character was. He kind of plays him as almost like he's had too many concussions.
Yeah. Which he says, yeah.
And he's just kind of like says his lines like this.
Right.
But it works, but it's also funny.
It's his attempt at a burnout.
Yeah.
People don't know how hard it is to play a burnout. To play a burnout and like someone with a light has come out of their eyes, he's got the light in his eyes. I could see he's down at the bottom of the fucking ocean in the first scene, running plays.
Right, with a metal trophy.
With a metal trophy. He's still got the fire in him, you know?
There's that scene when she goes to visit him and she's like, what are you doing? And he goes, oh, my job. You're a professional football player, the girl says. Sure, this week, but when that's all over, you know, I'll be back here. I don't want to lose my customers. Like he's just delivering. He's not. It's almost like a work in wrestling.
You shitting on this man so bad right now.
This is how he acts in the movie. But this is what I like about the movie.
I know.
I guarantee Keanu is not like, man, I nailed the replacements.
But
he has multiple scenes where you're like, what? Why didn't they do another take of this?
I will say this though. That same type of attitude works when, say, the guys flip his car over. Because he's supposed to be so nonchalant about it, so like virtuous in a way that you can't get a rise out of him. And so it works there, the fact that it doesn't seem like anything sticks to Shane
He
Falco.
stays with it the whole movie.
Yeah,
like even when he loses
back.
his job, he goes to the bar
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, I'm not going to be there on Thursday. And they're like, what? They stop it and he tells the team and you think it's going to be this big speech and it's just
He never has it. He doesn't do it.
That's his quicksand speech is good though. I like Keanu in this movie. I think one of the reasons it's rewatchable is now we have this whole John Wick history with him too, where he's so fucking cool in John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't really figured out the cool part how to do in this movie, but I still like it. Gene Hackman's also in this movie, which I was outraged by in 2000 because he was Norman Dale in Hoosiers.
Mm-hmm.
One of the great coach performances. And it's like, why are you being a coach again? Like, what?
Well, now you know why.
Why?
We only have 4 more years, so this was part of his retirement package.
Right. So we have this. He's in The Mexican in 01. He's in Heartbreakers, where you get horny Hackman.
I love Heartbreakers.
Heartbreakers?
We've never talked about my love for Heartbreakers.
He's
Sigourney and a prime Jennifer Love Hewitt.
J-Love.
Who at that point is
seductress.
Fighting for the title of number one white girl.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's like really, they're going, because in the 2000s, the title, the number one white girl crown was really being pulled back and forth.
It's a lot of contenders.
A lot of contenders. And she gets in there right there, J-Lo.
That was when you were cataloging your Maxim magazines.
FHM, Maxim, the whole deal. You were getting different takes on it, all different types.
Tara Reid, like just a brief 2-month run.
She
and
flirted
just faded
with it.
out.
She flirted with it. And then I saw this thing on
Charlize came off the top rope. Where'd she come from?
When Charlize came,
it was
she was doing her thing. The thing with Tara Reid was I saw her one time on this MTV. Ludacris did this like MTV video, making of the video.
Yeah.
Ludacris type of situation. And he went to lunch and Tara Reid was at the lunch.
Yeah.
And I was like, I already know what's up.
What does that mean?
Figure it out.
Okay. Heist 2001 for Gene. Royal Tenenbaums. Behind Enemy Lines. Runaway Jury. And can you guess the last movie he did? 2004.
Last Gene Hackman movie. So you said Royal Tenenbaums.
Yeah.
I know they re-released the Donner cut of Superman 2007 doesn't count. Okay.
Welcome to Mooseport.
Oh, Welcome to Mooseport, where he plays, it's like the president.
So Gene could have had this whole late 70s, early 80s run as like the old guy and been like a judge. And he was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I made enough money.
That's
I'm
Ray
done.
Romano, right? Who becomes the president of the United States or something? No.
I forget what.
Whatever. Yeah, but then after that, so Gene Hackman's done. So when you look at some of those movies, he's fattening up the wallet a little bit before it's time to get out of here.
I wrote down in my notes, he's basically Norman Dale with a fedora and a mustache and 3 drinks in him.
Yeah.
That's his. He has quotes like, winners always want the ball when the game's on the line.
Yeah.
A lot of cliche quotes. I look at you and I see 2 men. The man you are and the man you ought to be. These are actual lines from the script.
By the way, he's the Judd Nelson Award. He's in a completely different movie.
100%.
He's in a very serious football movie.
Well, let's just give him Judd Nelson now. A real man admits his fears. There can only be one leader out there. You be it.
Right. He comes.
It's like, did you guys work on these lines at all, or you just decided to just have Gene say them?
He's like what's the old Tom? He's like Tom Landry out there kind of coaching up the guys. Here's the thing about him. When I watched this movie, I remember that he also automatically gave the movie credibility because a lot of these actors that are in the film beyond Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, there are a lot of
It's a motley crew of guys who we would know better going on, but we didn't really know well then. And Gene Hackman was in his final form when I came to know who he was.
Yeah.
So anytime you put him in a movie, the movie has automatic credibility with me.
I completely agree. I didn't feel that way in 2000. I kept hoping Barbara Hershey would emerge from the stands dressed in all black and shoot him in the chest. Remember, she was the black lady in black at the Natural?
Right, yeah.
But now I've come around. Also, he gets to be in scenes with Jack Warden. This was Jack Warden's last movie.
Passed
Legend.
away after, yeah.
He has lines like, I've seen monkey shit fights in the zoo that were more good as this. He played the Sentinels owner, Edward O'Neill. He was also in 2 other football movies. Can you name them? Jack Warden, secret sports movie Hall of Famer. Like maybe not elected the same way like a Keanu would be, but
he was not. Was he in
What
Heaven
does the
Can Wait?
Oscars do? The Lifetime Achievement when the old guy gets it? I think he might get in late.
Was he in Heaven Can Wait?
He was crucial role in Heaven Can Wait. He
Heaven
played
Can
Max.
Wait. Yeah.
And then he played the coach of the Bears, George Halas, in Brian's Song, the saddest sports movie of all time.
Yeah.
You've seen Brian's Song, right?
Nah, I don't fuck with it.
TV movie. What do you mean you don't fuck with it?
It's
about Gail Sayers.
I know it's about
Brian Piccolo.
I get it, but I've seen once you see like the one scene in it, I feel like that's like the whole movie. I'm not trying to be like I've seen like really grown guys get super emotional about this shit. I'm not trying to do that whole shit, man. It means a lot to you, doesn't it?
I think it's an important football movie.
Okay.
I just thought differently of you.
That I will watch.
I just thought you knew your football movies.
Well, I know the movie.
I'm sorry.
And I know the scene, but
It's not the scene, it's the whole thing.
Okay, what else about, by the way, before you guys get super pissed off, I'm not pissing on Brian's song.
No, the movie came out in 1970. I'm not mad that you didn't watch it.
They remade it.
No, I didn't watch the remake.
Who did they have? They had Omar Epps in that joint?
It's bullshit they remade it.
Mekhi Phifer? Anyway.
There's a bunch of sports movie cliche characters that you've definitely seen before that they brought together in this movie, including the floundering QB who needs to turn his life around, Shane Footsteps Falco.
Yeah.
We'll get to his footsteps thing later.
Right.
The token psychopath, a SWAT team officer, crazy linebacker, played by Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau.
This has to be the weirdest thing about this movie 24 years later.
Yeah.
That Jon Favreau is the Brian Bosworth, Ray Lewis, I don't know whoever, crazy middle linebacker character. It's dumbfounding.
This is the stuff that makes a movie rewatchable.
Yes.
You have Orlando Jones, who's going to have a great career, but who also
he plays the comic relief black guy, the Billy Mays Hayes role.
He achieved cultural ubiquity as the 7-Up guy.
Yeah.
But now has gone on to have a great career. You have Jon Favreau while he was still trying to be an actor.
And by the way, it felt like it was going badly.
Of him trying to be an actor?
Well, because now he's in this movie. It felt like he's kind of he had been on Friends. He was hosting that IFC show that I really liked, actually, that part, Dinner for Five, whatever. But it felt like the moment it kind of passed him and Vince Vaughn was going to be a bigger star.
Well,
and then he flipped the script.
Well, Vince Vaughn, he flipped the script because he got back to his roots. I mean, remember.
Well, he does Iron Man in 08.
Iron Man in 08, but he really came into the game as more of a creator, as an actor as well, because he wrote Swingers, right? But during this time, you still were used to seeing him on screen. Now, we still see him on screen.
Well, we just thought he was going to be an actor. We didn't know he was going to be like a director person.
Right. And then that completely changed. So when you see it now, that also gives the movie a little novelty.
He was in Rocky Marciano, the
he was in
Showtime
Rocky
movie.
Marciano. He was in
I mean, he's ripped in this movie.
No, he is in great shape. And that's another thing.
Craig, were you surprised?
Yeah, I'm curious what he was taking behind the scenes. Something going on, perhaps.
I don't think there was testing on the set
Probably not.
that year.
All of these
was
guys
ripped.
take something now.
He was a believable, like Bill Romanowski type middle linebacker.
You forget that he is actually a really great actor. He still acts, by the way. He's still in the MCU stuff, Chef, all of that stuff. But we
have
the
token crazy foreigner, the drunk chain smoking Welsh field goal kicker.
Yeah,
played by the guy from Notting Hill.
Yeah,
he says things like, "You just hold it, and I'll kick the bloody piss out of it."
Yeah,
I kind of liked him. He smokes during scenes in games.
His bookies travel.
Yeah, his bookies travel
across.
Unrealistic. You have to owe a lot of money, I think. You're flying in from England to Washington.
England to watch the game and intimidate from the stands. They travel across the sea to get to him.
In the epilogue of this movie, that guy just gets shot behind the stadium after the game. He's done. We have
fast black guy who can't catch, which they do in every Motley Crue football movie.
Do it.
Like they even did it in the Little movie. Was it like the Little Giants or whatever? The kid can't catch. Like fast black guy. You like that one?
Well,
Craig.
it's like Billy Mays Hayes.
You see Craig.
I just saw that movie growing up.
Like Craig likes that one. Like,
Billy Mays Hayes.
I was acknowledging you were correct.
Can't hit for power.
Can't hit for power.
Speed.
Super athletic. Can't do the skill thing. We see what y'all do.
The two bouncers turned offensive linemen.
Yep.
The intimidating black guys with a heart of gold, which we also had in Blue Crush a couple years later with Kate Bosworth.
Yeah.
With
Kate
those
Bosworth,
guys.
surf movie.
They might have even been the same guys, or they stole those guys from this movie or stole the characters.
One of those guys, Face on Love. Shout out Face on Love.
The menacing ex-convict.
Ooh, I got a story.
Earl Wilkinson. We have some stuff for him later, but he's the Joe Boo.
Oh,
right?
No,
he's Joe Boo from Major League.
But the menacing ex-convict?
Yeah, save it. Yeah.
Oh, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
We have likable handicap guy, deaf tight end.
Yeah.
And we have the obscenely obese offensive lineman guy who in this movie is Japanese. So
Japanese
they just check a ton of boxes.
You know why? Because this movie is essentially a remake of Necessary Roughness.
Yeah, it is. It's not essentially a remake.
It's like it's
kind of the same movie.
From Necessary Roughness. Literally, when they copied almost all the characters. The only one missing is kind of your Sinbad character. But it's like legitimately
the female
same
field
movie.
goal kicker was the line they wouldn't cross.
Yeah.
They didn't want people to realize how badly they were. By the way, I'm all for ripping off Unnecessary Roughness. I like that movie too.
Yeah, it's great.
Fine. We're missing a couple of token characters. We don't have the semi-racist dumb guy from the South. Maybe they couldn't find the casting for it.
They kind of get you there with the cop, but I get what you're saying.
Remember the Titans guy? The guy then, when Gary finds like, hey man, you got to leave the team.
Oh,
I don't know if we need to go that far, but we definitely needed somebody
that guy
who
wasn't a semi-racist.
Well, he was a full racist.
No,
I'm saying, could we have dipped in that pool?
That guy went on to be Grand Dragon. That guy was Bertier had to get him off.
Yeah, Bertier's like, look, man, it's 1970. You have to go.
That's a bridge too far. What, you want to be with one of them? You're off the team.
We were missing the token washed up white safety, like Scott Bakula coming back.
Maybe Scott Bakula was a QB. Oh no, he could have played.
I'm saying having Scott Bakula come back.
Yeah.
As like the white safety who retired 2 years ago but misses it. He comes back.
The Don Beebe.
And we were really, I can't believe they missed this. The ladies' man who's just hooking up with multiple girls at a time. I don't know how they didn't have that in this. The person who was like, he basically fucked himself out of football because he was having so much sex and now he's back, but it's like, might have been a mistake.
He's just going too hard.
He's like the cheerleader. He loves the cheerleaders the most.
Cheerleaders. We got to talk about them.
We also have, I think, a new record of 7 cliche sports scenes. The bar brawl.
The dance.
Puking on the field. The teammate dance sequence, which happens in jail. The opponents getting distracted by the cheerleaders, which I don't think has ever happened in real life. Not once.
No.
The big fat lineman catching a pass and running. The QB throwing the ball at a defensive lineman's head, body, somewhere, trying to knock him out of the game. Just ripped off from longest yard.
Yeah.
Ripped off. And then the injured veteran with the "you got to do it" speech.
Mhm.
They have the guy who scores the touchdown in the big game, and he like blows out his knees sideways. And Keanu comes over. He's like, "Shane, you got to do it." It's like
you gotta do it. I scored my one touchdown.
So
Hey,
those
bro.
are the 7, right? Were there any more? Those were the 7 cliche scenes.
No, not. I mean, obviously some of the romantic stuff, but in terms of sports movie stuff,
Yeah.
those are the big ones.
I guess maybe
no. Did you do quicksand speech?
Oh, the locker room speech.
Locker room
Yeah.
speech.
Well, that's like you have to have that in every sports movie. though.
Right. They double back though.
Yeah.
They do I'm afraid to be great quicksand speech. But then they also come back to
Chicks dig scars.
guy comes in at halftime to win games, save your hero
Right.
dog. Same thing.
I don't know if this counts as a cliche thing, but we think they got the winning score, but it turns out there's a flag on the play and we got to redo the winning moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this movie invented that, but it's a good one. It's effective.
That's
I thought you scored. Oh, wait, you didn't.
that's the best shot in the whole movie.
Yeah. $50 million budget made $50.1 million.
So it lost money.
It literally broke even.
No. I mean, after
Yeah.
the marketing, it lost money.
Roger Ebert, 2 stars. And honestly, words hurt because he wrote slap happy entertainment painted in broad strokes, 2 coats thick. It's like a standard sports movie, but with every point made twice or 3 times. If you think The Replacements has the nerve to surprise you, you've got the wrong movie.
Right.
Raj.
He's right.
He's right.
Yeah.
But he didn't know that it was going to be on TNT for the next 23 years.
We missed a cliche.
What is it?
Maybe you brought it up. Maybe I just missed it. Whiny baby athletes, bad. Whiny rich bad athletes. Anybody that wants to make money playing sports, bad. Like when someone, it's funny because at the beginning of the movie, a guy goes,
Because that's Corbin Burnson in Major League.
that's
too.
Corbin Burnson
Yeah.
in Major League. At the beginning of the movie, a guy goes, I'm telling you, $5 million ain't what you think it is when you do taxes.
Yeah, Eddie Martell
and then
says that.
Right.
My manager gets it.
And I'm thinking to myself, now I'm thinking, I mean, he kind of spitting a little bit. He's got a point. Like, he makes $5 million, but it's not a real $5 million.
Well, remember the
he
lockout?
needs to go for more.
Remember
yeah.
the NBA lockout in 99 when Kenny Anderson, it came out, he had 8 cars
Mm-hmm.
and everyone lost their fucking minds?
See, that's different.
But I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
that the whole concept of the 90s and early 2000s was like, I can't believe this guy's complaining about
Latrell
blank.
Sprewell, Feed
Yeah.
My Family, all of that stuff. People were getting sick of it. Now the money is so fucking crazy. But also, what happens now is this movie is a low information sports fans movie because we don't know at this point how much the league is making. We don't know what the TV deals
True.
are. We don't know any of that. So when we see these numbers, we go, how could they be making that much money? Now, when we see how much money they're making, we go, how could they not be making that
Right.
much money?
So, most rewatchable scene, Jimmy goes to see Shane. Jimmy McGinty goes
Yeah.
to see Shane to
Of course.
talk him into it. We find out Shane lost the 96 Super Bowl by 45. I have a lot of Super Bowl
Sugar Bowl.
questions later. The
Sugar Bowl. Yeah.
lost that by 45. I have
Mhm.
more questions about that later. Jimmy says, you know what separates the winners from the losers, kid? And Shane goes, the score? And we know we're off at this point.
Right.
And Shane says, I don't want to be remembered at all. It's a dark place, cleaning boats,
Yeah.
embarrassed in the Sugar Bowl. What real life college football character is Shane Falco? What college star from the last 25 years? Is there a Shane Falco?
Oh, you know what he could be?
Uh-oh.
He could be Troy Smith from Ohio State.
Oh.
Ohio State's cruising
Yeah.
on their way to an undefeated season and a national championship. And they run into the Florida Gators, and somebody help me, but I think the score of the game was something like 40-14.
Yeah.
Very unexpected.
41-14.
41-14. Very unexpected. Troy Smith went on to like not really have very much
Right.
of a career in the NFL. Not sure how much of a career he was going to have before that, but it was a game that really, really injured the perception of him, if you ask me.
It would have been the Georgia quarterback this year, but they're not going to be good enough to be in a memorable
Troy
game.
Smith is a great comp. In that game, he threw for 35 yards.
Jesus.
Really?
Who's your LSU Shane Falco?
We've had a lot of Shane
We've had
Falcons.
multiple.
we couldn't
7 Shane Falcos.
we didn't have a quarterback legitimately. We didn't have a quarterback for like 10 or 11 years.
Okay.
So we've got Shane Falcos in spades, man. I don't want to name any of the guys because I love LSU too much.
Next scene, Annabelle, the hot cheerleader who we'll talk about later, gives Shane a ride home and drives like a fucking maniac for a minute for no reason.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff in this movie happens for no reason. And then says, nothing personal, Shane, but I don't date quarterbacks. Like, all right, you'll be back.
Yeah,
we know
what are you
that's
talking
not
about?
us. Come on.
It's fucking Keanu
Loved her
Reeves.
car. Very like 90s, early 2000s. Like driving that car. You know, it was like 40 degrees in Washington. They don't care. Jimmy and Shane before the first big game. I look at you and I see 2 men, the men you are and the man you ought to be. I remember when I said that to you in 2020 when we decided to work together.
Right. It was actually
That pushed it over. It
2018.
was right before Higher Learning was launched.
Yeah. Go fuck yourself. but like we haven't talked about how much of a cliche she is.
Can you hold it? Because I have a great spot for it.
Yeah.
We have the puking in the huddle to I need that ball and Favreau going to get the ball and coming back. I got you the ball.
Right. Yeah.
Which was ridiculous in 2000, but now I kind of like that scene. Falco's almost game winner. And then the highlight of this whole scene was Pat Summerall and John Madden, who we also haven't talked about yet. And they're in this movie a lot. And they're doing the notes, and Summerall was talking about the running back, the ex-con, doesn't realize he's an ex-con, and says, it says here that he likes embroidery. They just slid that in. So we get that. We get the bar fight. That's fun. I like bar fights.
Always like a bar fight in a sports movie.
We get her circling back and how he got his truck back with the girl and Keanu. We get the I need you to get me the ball. I got you the ball exchange, which was I think I got that out of order. Keanu's quicksand speech,
fantastic.
Which I'll have Craig play the clip of because he'll do it better than me. But I also want to do an imitation of it.
Go for it.
You're playing, you think everything's going fine, but then one thing goes wrong and another, and you try to fight back. But the harder you fight, the deeper you sink until you can't move. You can't breathe because you're in over your head like quicksand.
Right.
That's how he delivers it.
That's the way it is. Garrett Nussmeier versus Texas A&M.
Our guy Orlando Jones comes in and goes, that's some deep shit, Shane.
Shit, Shane.
This movie's great.
And then
I love this
it goes to each one of their faces.
Yeah,
because
it's like he's giving the greatest. He's like Martin Luther King and giving like the greatest speech of all time.
Be careful, but he's talking about not just football, but he's also talking about
failure,
like, their lives as well. So when it flashes to each one of them, we've learned a little bit about their backstories and like why they didn't make it. And everybody's like, I don't want to go back to the mini mart. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. So scene works. It
Favreau's
works.
character seems like I'm actually fine going back to
I want to bust some ass.
killing criminals again.
Yeah.
Next scene, this is self-explanatory. The stripper cheerleaders cause an offside and lead a comeback.
Mm-hmm.
Really fun.
The coach in that scene is hilarious.
It's great.
He slapped her on the ass, ref. Ref, she slapped her on the ass. like that guy is really funny in that scene.
I mean, the last 25 minutes of the movie is probably the pick.
Right.
Because we get the first half of the big game with Eddie Martell crossing the picket line and just going full Aaron Rodgers Jets on the entire team. We get Falco coming back. As Eddie Martell says in the locker room at halftime, nobody can beat Dallas with these losers. I can. And then, now get the hell out of my locker room, which is just an immediate overacting award winner. They just put that in the whatever category that is.
So
what took you so long? Traffic.
It's kind of a Jerry Maguire type of situation there.
We're getting into it in nitpicks.
Yeah. I have. Okay, so the opening scene sets the cultural stakes of the movie. It tells you all about where sports culture is and how you're supposed to look at the good guys. It like literally defines the good guys and the bad guys.
Yeah.
The first sequence of the movie, right? But then like the first practice / training camp esque.
Oh, the little montage.
The little montage of everybody going through their thing because you get to see the deficiencies of all the characters. Hey, one guy can catch his ass off, but he's deaf.
Yeah.
One guy is fast, but he can't catch. One guy has all the intensity, but no discipline.
Yeah.
One guy is huge as fuck, but he has an eating disorder.
Yeah.
So like you go through all of the different things. And in movies like that, in movies like this, should I say, that's the one scene you have to have. Like, because it really gives you a lot of exposition in one little scene.
We didn't mention the ending. Which
one more thing I want to say. The wild yam scene.
Yeah.
Wild yam, that's the hey, love matters scene. He's not going to be the coach of or he's not going to be the quarterback of the team for a long time, but he's going to have her forever. She's rubbing her wild yam on his shoulders.
Didn't mention the ending. I know you're tired. I know you're hurting. I wish I could say something that's classy and inspirational, but it wouldn't be our style. Pain heals, chick digs scars, glory lasts forever. Would that have been your yearbook quote, Craig?
I actually think that is like an objectively great sports movie quote.
It's the highlight of the movie.
That would work. Great. If I was on his team, that would fire me up.
You ready to run through a fucking wall?
Yeah. We get the fake field goal, which I think is a really well-written, smart wrinkle.
Uh-huh.
The kicker's like, I'm going to have to miss this. And Keanu sniffs it out, runs for the touchdown, called back. And then we get the game winner, which I have some questions about. But
I have a question before we move on.
That's my pick for most rewatchable.
My most rewatchable is the last scene of the movie.
Yeah.
For sure, right? But back to Craig's point, of all the sports movie speeches that you've heard, I'm not going to ask you for a top 5. What are the most effective sports movie speeches ever?
First of all, you came to the right place.
Okay.
Probably the best person on the planet to answer this question.
Humble.
The Longest Yard with Paul Crewe is the best speech ever. When he calls timeout when it's 4th down and brings everybody over to the sidelines and does the, we've come too far to stop now.
Yeah.
For Granny, for Nate, for Caretaker, who just died.
Oh, fuck,
it's the best.
Man,
it's the best one.
Can I give you one that means something to me?
I think there's been a lot of good ones.
There's a lot of great ones. Billy Bob Thornton.
Oh.
Friday Night Lights.
Good one.
My God. Now they know that they're about to go out there. You know they're probably gonna look, but my God.
That's a great one.
The Billy Bob Thornton, Friday Night Lights, he's like imparting this upon these young men. And he's letting you know, look, my heart is full. I'm here with you. Like that movie to me it's kind of actually, I look at that film as actually the time that sports movies changed a little bit. Sports movies are they're a little bit more meta in how they do their thing now than they used to be.
That started with like Moneyball, late 2000s.
Yeah. They're kind of a little bit more meta now. That the sports movie now almost always rides the line between sports movie and documentary.
Yeah. Because documentary has changed how we saw sports just in general.
Yeah. But like, I love that fucking speech. That's the speech that makes me want to run.
Any Given Sunday with Pacino is an all-timer.
Yeah.
The inches all around. The inches are all around us.
The inches are all around in that movie too, in the locker room thing. His people was like, what the fuck is going on? They just
Jerry Maguire's speech to Tidwell's good.
Yep.
Remember the Titans, for me, has some good ones. Will Patton and Denzel, both.
Yeah, Denzel was great, like fantastic in that one. You know what?
Hoosiers. Don't forget, I know you have some issues with Hoosiers.
I don't.
But great speech that leads to the slow clap.
The slow clap is just crazy in every movie that they do it. It seems like these movies, there are not as many great sports movie speeches in basketball movies, though.
The best one's probably He Got Game.
Mm-hmm. Which one?
The speech that when they're walking on the boardwalk and Denzel's talking to Ray Allen.
Yeah.
That's near the end of the movie when he's talking about how he has to get the hate out of his heart. It's not necessarily a sports speech.
Yeah.
But that's an unbelievable scene.
When he's basically telling him, like, I'm your dad.
Yeah.
This is what I want. And I'm telling you, even if you don't give me this, then what you have to do is be able to move on from everything that's happened, or you're never going to reach your full
Get rid of this
potential.
hate in your heart.
Get rid of the hate out your heart, son. Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of good sports movie speeches, and I think we hit a point. Miracle, there's some good ones with Kurt Russell. We hit a point in the late 90s when we had enough of a sports movie library that people knew that they had to have some sort of speech in it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what they're trying to do. And
they also do you that shit in real life, though. That's another thing, is the sports movie speech is accurate to the way they try to motivate you when you're actually playing sports.
Yeah.
Like, I remember watching Doc Rivers, and Doc Rivers is on the sideline with the Celtics, which, you guys, Doc Rivers is a good coach in Boston, and he says something to them. He goes, listen. He doesn't like draw up a play or anything like that. He says something. He goes, listen. if you play together and you believe in each other, you're unbeatable. They can't beat you if you play together and execute together and look out for one another. I'm like, God damn. If we play together, we can't be beat. It actually was inspiring.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Supposedly, and I think all videos have been destroyed, but in 2006, Pat Riley and the Heat, when they were in Dallas trying to finish off Dirk and those guys, and supposedly him in the second half, the cameras that were there recording the stuff that he was saying was like all time. So he had like no clipboard, and he was just like, you guys are tougher than these guys. You guys have to rip their heart out right now, and was doing like crazy sports movie shit, but it was working, and those guys came out and they killed Dallas.
Took it from Dirk and them, yeah.
All right, so what's your most rewatchable?
My most rewatchable is it's like you. It's the last one. It's
Okay.
the final scene, but the opening scene is up there too.
What's the most 2001 thing about this movie? I'll give you some options.
All right, give it to me.
Intentionally attacking football opponents. Using good vibrations by Marky Mark in a sports celebration sequence.
That's way up there.
Stick 'em.
That's like more like the 70s though.
No concussion protocol for the deaf tight end in the final game. Just comes right back.
Yeah.
Or stripper cheerleaders.
Okay, so I'm going to make a case for stripper cheerleaders
Great.
later. So
That was my number one pick as well.
Really? No,
Yeah.
that wasn't my number one pick though. I'm going to make a case as to why that should happen. But my number one pick is the concussion protocol. Bruh, we've talked about it on the pod before. There is legitimately, like, you made a joke about it, but there's actually one. There's actually a ESPN jacked up segment
Right.
where the dude gets hit by Nnamdi Asomugha,
Yeah.
and he's doing the fencing pose.
He's like this.
He's like this, and Tom Jackson goes, you know, when you see the hands like that, that's when you know you got jacked up. And I'm like, what the fuck? He literally is doing, Tom Jackson's voice goes down.
Yeah.
And he goes,
You think he's getting serious for a second.
He comes back with the jacked up. So that.
No, those segments, those ESPN jacked up segments, look like they're SNL segments
They do,
of them
bro.
parodying
Right.
ESPN, but they're actually the actual ESPN
They're the
segments.
real thing. It's like, you got, look at him.
Look at him. He's not moving. He's not moving. He got jacked up. The guy's like dead.
He's like fucking out. He's unconscious on the football field.
It's so funny.
Jacked
Remember
up.
there was a Madden game one year when it was like a 30-second intro before you started playing, and
Boom.
each hit was just somebody getting decapitated or
Rocked.
annihilated.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, different
So
times.
the obviously
the deaf tight end is so.
but
that's a
him
good
getting
call.
fucked up and then coming right back in the game is just a different sport back then.
A category we don't get to give out very often. The Elizabeth Shue is an Oxford Electrochemist Award goes to Washington's cute and bubbly head cheerleader, Annabelle, who also owns a bar in downtown Washington.
Yeah.
And she's single
Yeah.
because this person exists.
She is breathtakingly beautiful.
Yeah, she's saying, no,
She's
can't find a guy.
She's breathtakingly beautiful, financially independent,
Yeah, hard worker.
cheerleads basically as a hobby
Yeah,
because she only makes $50 a game.
right. Has to shut down the bar. Probably costs her money.
Costs her money to do it, right? And just striking out. Either that or the sequel to this movie is her carving up his back or doing something crazy because there's got to be a reason why she's not married. Or a backstory with her
Oh, like
and some football player. Maybe there's a reason why.
the second one's an erotic thriller. Where
Right.
She starts stalking Shane.
Mm-hmm. Because
Shane, why didn't you come by the bar? They hint at it near the end of the replacements when he no-shows the date, and she's like basically turning the light on and off. And
yeah, right.
Like
She's
Fatal
crazy.
Attraction style.
I told
Listen to
you
some
I
M.
don't
Butterfly.
date quarterbacks.
I will not be ignored.
Right, exactly.
She was played by former Melrose Place star Brooke
yeah.
Langton,
Mm-hmm.
who ended up getting involved with Billy Campbell on that show, Andrew Shue, who
Yeah.
was kind of the homeless man's Keanu from an acting standpoint.
What a call.
Yeah. Same kind of blank faces and unenergetic line deliveries.
It's funny that he would be brought up when his sister is the Elizabeth Shue. He was a thing
Oscar
for a
winner.
while. He is one of the all-time.
Andrew Shue.
What the fuck happened to that guy?
Season 1 of Melrose Place, he felt
the
like he was
man.
going to be one of the biggest stars in the
He had
world.
like commercials on TV and stuff, and then gone.
What's age the best? I have a bunch of stuff. You can
Okay.
give me your best one.
All right. Now?
Yeah.
Okay, so Keanu Reeves just aged super the best. Sex workers. The way that sex workers are portrayed in this movie, the strippers, it's aged best. It's totally different now.
I have them in this as well as what's aged the best. I love those characters. I think they're hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And they were kind of, they give the movie some spice, and it's like a TNT spice because it's not too dirty, but it's okay enough for TNT, but it still feels like in the bar, she's giving the deaf guy like the fake blowjob thing, and it's like,
What'd you do?
Right?
That's for video. You guys got to see that.
I do the Trump, where Trump's like,
yeah, it's like they're winking at you. They're not showing you that's very 90s too. Cause now there'd be some bit where they come out there with no underwear on, it would be forever.
that was that era though. That was 1999, 2000, 2001. A lot of the stuff that was going on MTV. That was the Woodstock 99 that we did the documentary about where everybody's taking their tops off. Like, it got a little crazy there.
It did, but they're winking at you here. The strippers dance a little, the ladies, they dance a little bit different. They do a little bit different. They're a little bit more out there. That is the best. And just like sports labor discussions have aged the best because we do not have them now the way we used to.
There's too much money at stake now. Now they're just like, let's split this up. Let's not argue about this.
The baseball, the strike of 1994 is the NBA strikes and the football strikes, all of that. The strike of 1994 was a watershed moment in the way that I view sports.
Yeah.
Because the season leading up to that was so fucking special. Tony Gwynn was hitting like, what, 394?
Expos.
The Montreal.
Yeah.
Like, the season was so fucking amazing. And there was this collective grief over the fact that we weren't going to see if he could hit for 100.
Yeah.
Or we weren't going to see if Montreal could get to the World Series. I think the home run record might have been, it really cost people something. I think after that, that really kind of changed, at least me as being a sports fan around that age, kind of changed the way I looked at sports and labor.
Bullshit. The 99 NBA lockout wasn't great. The hockey lost an entire season.
A whole season, yeah.
I have some smaller what's aged the best. Keith David as head of the Players Union. Always like Keith David.
Doesn't come back in the movie,
Doesn't come back. Feels like he probably had some deleted scenes.
Got some shit cut out, yeah.
The TD celebration where Orlando Jones shoots the guys with the football.
And then himself.
Yeah.
I think they were making fun of not any given Sunday, the last Boy Scout.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I like the blue Washington Sentinels hats, the blue with the Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I would buy one of those on eBay. So this is a what's aged the best in real life. Keanu took less money so they could afford Gene Hackman.
Oh.
Team player, Keanu.
Yeah.
Like a Tim Duncan.
Is he? So people fall from grace.
Kobe wouldn't have taken less money for Gene
get the
Hackman,
fuck
but
outta
Tim
here,
Duncan
bro.
would have.
Like
I'm just telling you.
People fall from grace.
Another Tim Duncan win.
Your agenda is crazy. I'm begging Keanu Reeves, just don't let us down, Keanu. Because he is like the guy when you think about, hey, you can still be decent, you can still not care, you can still be. If we find out Keanu got 3 hoes locked in a basement somewhere, it's gonna be such a dark day.
With the Matt Lauer buzzer.
Yeah, it's like just Keanu. It like for us, bruh, just keep it above board. Always you're hearing something
I think
good
we're
about
good with him. What's age the best? Hey Falco, you're not even a has-been. You're a never was. Great insult.
Yeah,
really cuts deep. Madden and Summerall.
Yeah.
So we have Vince Scully in For Love of the Game in 1999. And it turns out like these guys, they do these games, they disappear, they end up on YouTube. But Vince Scully is like a key character in For Love of the Game, and he's really good. Madden and Summerall, this felt like a money grab in 2001. And we had a lot of Madden and Summerall in our lives because they were the announcers for the video game, which everyone played. Like the Madden 2001, it was like everyone's playing it. But now I'm like really glad they're in this movie. It's actually nice to see them. Because I miss Madden and Summerall.
Miss them big time.
I miss them doing lines. Like Summerall's kind of awkward. Madden at one point does this thing like, it looks like they're necking when they're kissing.
Like the Madden and Summerall team, is just like the golden age of football watching for me.
Yeah,
It's like-
it made me super nostalgic. seeing it.
Absolutely. And I think putting them in the movie probably gave the movie a little bit of credibility because
Them and Hackman.
they didn't have Hackman as well. They didn't have like licensing.
Yeah.
So it's like real football if John Madden and Summerall are calling it.
I like the kicker smoking butts during the game, even in the game. I just thought it was like they really went for it with that one. Hoosiers jokes during the Gene Hackman parts. Not afraid to make a couple of like, I want 4 handoffs before every pass. Like just weave those in. I like the cheerleader with the deaf guy. My favorite 2 things though for what's aged the best. Shane Footsteps Falco. What a great nickname.
Yeah.
Kudos to the screenwriter for that.
Did we ever get a reason as to why they call him that?
I think because in the Sugar Bowl, he got hit so many times, he just started like
he was
taking self-sacks.
hearing footsteps or feeling footsteps.
Jim Everett. That was the famous Jim Everett in the 80s when he thought he was going to get sacked and fell down, but there was nobody there.
Be
and it like
careful.
haunted him forever.
Be careful speaking on him.
Well, that's why.
I know. I just
That's
saying
why
he
we gave
likes
him
to,
shit. You
but
think he's going to jump out?
He
Where
likes,
is
he likes to
here?
get busy. I watched that shit live when it happened.
Can we call Derek Carr Derek Footsteps Carr?
Yeah, you definitely can call me anything
Let's
you
bring
want.
it back. All right, here's my big one though. Keanu looks good as a QB.
Bro,
I'm ready to have this convo right now.
I do this a lot where someone makes another point and I go, wow. But realistically, he looks like he could get it done. He's athletic. He looks like he's got the kind of build to where he's lean, but still sturdy.
Kind of looks like
a
Tua.
QB.
I got to be honest. Like watching it, I don't really know the difference.
He like even in Point Break,
Yep.
which by the way,
And he's
I'm going
skinnier
to get to
in
my
Point Break.
multiversal theory
Yeah.
a little later. But like Point Break, when he's Johnny Utah, he looks like a guy who could have played football. A lot of times they
No
put
question.
people in these roles, and obviously there's the guy from the Amanda Bynes movie when you see him throw it. Have you ever seen that clip? You ever see the guy in the Amanda Bynes movie? Which movie was it?
Was it Freddie Prinze Jr.?
No, it
No.
wasn't him. Freddie could get busy, but it was I don't know why I just big up Freddie like that. I just like him. I like to think he could throw a football.
Okay.
But there's a guy, he's throwing the ball, and
Is he
they're
doing like one of those?
you have to see this. I'm gonna
Okay,
show it to
I'll
you.
check that
But
out.
but Keanu is very athletic. He looks athletic, and he's got a good football motion and like a good constitution about
At the
him.
time, I wrote that he was very Scott Mitchell-y, which was a compliment because I think Scott Mitchell
From the Lions?
he made money in the Lions, but he
Yeah.
had that kind of lefty, kind of lumbering but athletic,
Mhm.
and you felt like it made sense if he scrambled for 15 yards. Tua is probably the comp now. I'm ready to do it. The best quarterbacks in a sports movie.
Okay.
I think Burt Reynolds is still one. Longest yard. He's like amazing. Like he's
Okay.
like Lamar Jackson in the longest yard.
Kind of shouldn't count, but I get it.
It counts. He's
Played-
star of the
he-
movie.
I'm just saying he played college football. He's a real football player.
I gotta hand it to Jamie as Willie Beeman.
That's one way up there. Once again, high school football player. Good one, but way up there.
Like felt Kaepernick-y 10 years before Kaepernick. Like same kind of slasher, like quick throws, but also could run, athletic.
Want a
At
fun,
the time, it was Aaron Brooks was the comp for him.
you want a fun fact? Jamie did most of that,
Yeah.
but the guy who filled in for Jamie and some of the football stuff was a gentleman by the name of Sam George, who played quarterback for Southern University in Baton Rouge,
Interesting.
HBCU.
I thought Jamie did all that shit himself.
He did most of it, but there were some things that he didn't do.
I got Ronnie Sunshine Bass up there.
Way up there. Once again, real football player.
Rifleman and All the Right Moves is my dark horse for this category because he's never mentioned, but go watch All the Right Moves. Watch some of the things he's doing in that movie. It's really impressive. Ahead of its time, even, some people say. I got Keanu in here. Anybody else for you?
James Vanderbeek. Varsity
Really?
Blues. Yep.
Make the case.
Okay, so
I thought I didn't think he was good or bad. I thought he was passable.
I think he did a good job. I think he did a good job. Paul Walker did a decent job as well. I know a little bit of the inside of this. There's we did a movie way back in the day in Baton Rouge, and one of the producers on the film was a lady named Sarah Flam, and she was coming out there and she was like throwing the football,
Yeah.
and she was like rifling the football. And I asked her, like, you know, I mean, are you quarterback princess or something like that? By the way, you did mention Helen Hunt. Are you quarterback princess? And she goes, well, no, I did a movie called Varsity Blues.
Oh.
And on this movie, there was a quarterback coach that gave all the people there intensive instructions
Interesting.
on like how to be a quarterback. Like they really put it into it. I think when you watch the movie, James Vanderbeek, it shows. It shows to me him
Good tutelage.
that he really took it seriously. I think
How'd you feel about
decent.
Bakula?
He's
okay.
He's okay. I bought it though. I bought it. I wouldn't put him up with the rest of a lot of the guys you named are actually football
Craig
players.
Sheffer in the program, he's fine.
They didn't really
unleash
put
him
too
that
much on him as the QB there. What about your Friday Night Lights television show? Was anybody from there?
Well, MBJ was on that. He was good.
Yeah.
You know what we found out this week?
It's reboot.
You know who's never seen one episode of Friday Night Lights?
Who?
Craig.
Explain yourself.
Craig's defense was
It came out
when I was 12. I was like, well,
Yeah.
fucking cheeseburgers came out in 1910. So you can't eat
What
them?
is that?
Like,
That is
what
not
is
a similar. It's not a similar argument.
It's outrageous. You haven't seen that. It
There-
hits every interest you have.
I know.
You actually care about content. You care about well done content. You like serialized shows.
What channel was it on?
It was
NBC.
NBC, like barely making it because we
I'll
didn't
be
have
honest with you,
streamers yet.
I haven't seen the show.
Oh,
What? Friday Night Lights?
Yeah,
What do you mean?
I haven't seen it. I've seen an episode of
What?
it, but I didn't watch it.
there are dozens of us.
I didn't watch it.
What in the hell?
I've seen an episode of it. I remember I watched one episode where Michael B. Jordan was running wind sprints, and I was like,
Outrageous.
haven't seen it. Joe, this is the Joanna podcast.
You've fucking seen all 7 Superman remakes and you haven't watched Friday Night Lights?
Stop coming at my culture.
You've seen Superman 4 and you haven't seen Friday Night
I've
Lights?
seen Superman 4 dozens of times.
That's terrible.
But I haven't seen the Friday Night Lights show. I've seen episodes of it, but I haven't watched the show in its
Amazing show. Incredibly important show. The Fortune 3 Clap Award for most gifable moment is any crazy Jon Favreau clip, I feel like.
entirety.
Right? Great Shot Gordo Award. This movie wasn't good enough to qualify.
Oh no, I got one.
What do you got?
There's one little one I think is a good shot. In the last play where Falco takes he pulls the kick and he scores.
Yeah.
There's a great shot of him running and the flag coming in at the bottom.
Oh.
The flag.
Yeah, I did notice that.
They don't
You're
just
right.
cut to the flag.
Yeah.
The flag flashes in on the bottom of the camera, almost in real
So did
game
this solo
style.
cut. Yeah,
and
that's
then
smart.
Then they come back to
Good
it.
call.
Yeah.
Denethys Benihana Award for scene stealing location. Probably the bar. I like the bar. I think DC has strong bars.
DC, but also just RFK, right? Weren't they in RFK?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but now they were actually in Baltimore.
Oh, were they? So no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Kid Cudi Pursuit of Happiness Award for Best Needle Drop. Craig theorized that 90% of the budget was spent on the music in this movie. I don't know if it was that high, but it might have been 80.
Yeah.
But I really like the Stones' Blinded by Rainbows.
Mhm.
So there's 2 songs from Voodoo Lounge, the 1994 Rolling Stones album that I would say is not considered a classic, that then featured prominently in 2 pop culture things that you love. One is Blinded by Rainbows. Can you think of the other?
I can't. I'm not even gonna try.
Sopranos,
Oh.
last episode, season 2.
Yeah.
The Keith Richards song.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I'll give you that. I'll give you I Will Survive in Jail, or I will give you the We Can Be Heroes ending.
So it's probably I Will Survive. We Can Be Heroes is also great. But just a little shout out to Lit Ziploc, the way the movie starts. The movie starts literally, I thought about Craig because he put that in the chat, but I thought about Craig when the movie, it starts off like right
With one of those happy early 2000s songs.
early
Yeah.
2000s, late 90s kind of just, but I'm going to go out with I Will Survive because it's like thematic to the movie.
There's also, it's just the pure volume of music. There are so many songs.
Yeah.
They're just like ripping banger song after banger song. It's like a 40-song playlist on
It's
this
definitely,
soundtrack.
it feels like a very era-specific movie. This movie feels like it came out between 1999 and 2001, and there's the only 3 years it could have come out with how they do it.
And don't they have the police play?
Every Breath You Take.
Every Breath
I
You-
want to get into that later because
Yeah.
it's important. The Big Kahuna Burger Award, best use of food and drink. Probably the Japanese guy eating the hard-boiled eggs.
Yeah, that or them throwing the eggs at their car.
Yeah,
The
eggs.
millionaires are egging them, but it's definitely eggs.
The Butch's Girlfriend Award, weak link of the film. Probably the premise of the scabs or the heroes is an interesting one in 2024.
That is by far the weak link of the movie.
They just are like, you know what? We're doing it this way.
Right.
You're either with us or against us.
Yeah.
We rarely get to give this award out. I think we've given her out 3 times. The Seth Rogen Katherine Heigl Award for worst chemistry. Keanu and Brooke Langton. Can we talk about it?
Yeah.
I can't say it was electric between the two of them.
It doesn't.
She's trying hard. She's getting cleavage going and big smiles and wink winks. And I never felt like he totally likes her.
Two great look. Wait a minute. You never felt like he totally likes her?
I never felt like he was like, I would risk everything for this lady.
I feel like
I think she deserved that.
I feel like at the end of it, she was just kind of, I feel like it was the opposite. She was kind of like, all right, nigga. Like,
it would have been controversial.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it would have been, but like, she was just kind of like, okay, whatever.
Oh, I think
but he kept coming at her.
He didn't show up for the date. I think that you're going to break up after that.
Yeah.
She's never forgiving that. They're going well for 3 months, and then she has 2 drinks. And she's like, man, it's like when you didn't show up for the date that time, you motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's over. What stage is the worst? Ebert on Madden and Summerall. This is what he wrote. Stashes them in a booth with a couple of TV monitors, has them stand around awkwardly as if looking at a game. Sometimes they're not even looking in the same direction. I rarely get to say this, but fuck you, Raj.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
Settle down. Don't go after Madden and Summerall.
You can't do Raj.
American treasures can't go after other American treasures. I didn't like that at all. Just stop it, Raj. And then I wrote this about Jon Favreau in 2001, and I recant it because I actually like him in this movie now. And I wrote, how the mighty have fallen. It's impossible to overstate how dreadful Favreau is here. He makes you wince in pain during certain scenes. A career-ending performance.
Yeah, that's
bad take.
Not a good take.
It's a freezing cold take.
That's a freezing cold take. This is like literally one of the 5 most powerful guys in the whole fucking town.
I take it back.
Yeah.
The Gary Glitter song always ages the worst when you hear it in the movie because he had one of the darkest Wikipedias you'll ever look at.
Crazy, yeah. Like killed or
no, he was a
molester.
Big time molester.
Molester, yeah.
All right, so tell me if this is a what stage the best or what stage the worst. Keanu finally makes a move on Annabelle, and they're playing the Every Breath You Take song from the Police. And then they use Madden and Summerall commentary.
Okay.
But it bleeds into the football game, which is why they're doing it. But it makes it seem like the commentary is about Shane making a move on Annabelle. Does it work or does it not work?
I fucking love it.
Okay, good.
Okay.
I have it at what stage the best and the worst.
I have it. It's like legitimately one of the more inventive things they do in the movie. Because the movie is pretty paint by numbers, pretty predictable. But that's actually like pretty cool. That's like one of the more unique things about the movie. I like that
in the
part.
deleted scenes, they cut to those guys and they're just in their underwear.
Like watching them on monitors.
Yeah.
That's the erotic thriller. It's about them.
They
Sliver
Madden in it.
with John Madden.
And then the last what's age the worst. I can't think of a paragraph that's more in your wheelhouse. Wilkinson, played by Michael Jace, was afraid to go back to prison in the quicksand scene.
Careful.
And in 2016 was convicted of second-degree murder in real life for murdering his wife and went to prison for 40 years.
This guy went to my church. This was going to be a Van Lathan fun fact. There was a church, and I don't know if it's still going. It's called Oasis. It was on Wilshire. I was embarrassed by a friend of mine that was visiting in the town because Common showed up at the church one day, and he went up to take a picture with Common during the service.
Oh, no.
But one time I see this guy there, and he's ushering people, and it's Michael Jace. I'm like, oh my God, I know this guy. I know him from a movie.
He's in a horror movie, right?
He's been in a bunch of movies, but there was one specific movie, and this is like a underrated classic it's called Thick as Thieves. The movie is with Alec Baldwin, Michael Jai White.
Wow, I don't know this movie.
It's
can't believe I don't know this movie.
It's Michael Baldwin.
That sounds like something got stolen and then the guys escaped, just knowing nothing.
It's a movie about
I'm gonna look this up.
Alec Baldwin plays. I haven't seen it in a long time, but there's the mob's involved, and Michael Jai White runs one part of the the underworld, and these two people are like up against each other. But it's very funny. It's very cool. I think Janine Garofalo's in it just like for a little while. She played like Alec Baldwin's ex or something like that.
The IMDb is a thief is betrayed after a well-done job in Detroit. Returning to Chicago, he decides on revenge. Things escalate. How the fuck have I not seen this?
It's really good.
I'm outraged at myself.
It's really good. It's a smaller movie. I don't know if it got theatrical release. It's really good. It's like Alec Baldwin is like trying to get revenge and all of that stuff, whatever.
Andre Brower's in it.
Andre Brower plays Michael Jai White's number one in the movie.
Sounds great.
Michael Jason's in that movie, so I recognize him from that. And everybody's like, oh, Michael Jason. But he was like serving at the church, like ushering people and helping out and all of that stuff like that. And then one day, he got arrested for murder. And it was like a thing, like with the church, talked to the guy, been around the guy the whole
Can we
night.
workshop the title of this bit and maybe not call it Van Lathan's Fun Fact? I don't know if we can get that one sponsored.
Van Lathan's
Fun Fact, presented by Arby's.
I remember it was like
deep fried turkey sandwich.
And do you know? And the way that I learned about this was one of the early TMZ moments. This was somebody that I knew, and then all of a sudden it comes into TMZ,
like,
and I'm standing up. I'm gonna fucking know that guy. But yeah, 40 years, murder in the second, right?
Van Lathan's maybe not that fun fact.
Maybe not that fun fact.
Was there a better title for this movie?
Scabs. No? Nah, probably not.
What do you think, Craig? Scabs? I like The Replacements. It's fine.
Is probably better.
The only problem is there was another movie called The Replacements, right? It gets confusing.
I don't know another movie called The Replacements.
Ruffalo, Hannah, Rubinek, Partridge overacting word. It's either Favreau with the give me the ball. I got you the ball. I got you the ball. But I really think it's Martel. Falco, it's great to see you. Now get the hell out of my locker room. He goes Pacino for a split second.
Yeah, I got Orlando Jones a little bit as well. Love you, Orlando, but he was hamming it up in this one. And Favreau, the get me the ball thing.
Can you dig it a word? Most memorable quote: pain heals, chicks dig scars, glory lasts forever. Great job. The CR thinks Luke Wilson could have been Harrison Ford hottest take award. What do you got?
That they should actually have strippers in real NFL stadiums. Okay. We're gearing this stuff for kids. All right. And the reality is that, let's face it, we've passed the point where it's for kids. It's just not for kids anymore.
It's not.
It's not for kids.
Didn't the XFL try to do this, basically?
Perhaps, but maybe it used to be, you guys can't, we know too much about the game now.
Yeah.
For you to, the game is a bunch of people literally poisoning their brains.
Right.
Right? Like,
yeah, let's just own it.
Like, yeah, it's not for kids. If the game isn't for kids, whatever, if kids can enjoy it. I'm not saying that we put the strippers out there in front of the kids, but there should be an adult part of the stadium where you can get a little, you know what I'm saying, I'm with that. Gambling, all of this stuff is for adults. We're grown-ups. We're grown-ups. We're grown-ups watching this grown-up sport that we like, where guys are literally shortening their lives. Bring some ladies out there. Let them make some money off the NFL. The strippers are making money after the games. Let them make money during the games.
Yeah, it's a first of a 2-part day for them.
That's what I'm talking about.
Here's mine. It's not even, this isn't a typical hot take. I had a friend who was really upset that I mentioned how I wanted to do a hot take for Body Double that Frankie Goes to Hollywood could have been Queen, but I backed off. I was like, I can't do it. I can't, because that's the whole point of the hottest take is to say something crazy and try to defend it. I don't think this is crazy. I just don't think we've made enough football movies. And I don't know if new president, maybe, I know he's got some initiatives, he's naming a cabinet, but maybe this could be part of it.
What the fuck are you talking about?
More football movies. Maybe a 4-year commitment to more football movies.
There are guys in this movie that could be like actually named to his cabinet. You never know. He might
maybe Trump needs a sports movie consultant. He might put sports movie czar.
Michael Jace on his cabinet with some of the appointments he's doing.
Do we have enough football movies? No. The answer is no. We're like 1/3 where we need to be.
Bill,
I would watch 20 versions of The Replacements.
The sports movie itself is in peril because we know too much about sports. The sports movies now.
So documentaries.
It's better.
Have ruined sports movies.
Because so the sports movie now, remember like the movie that Adam Sandler had a couple of years ago with the big guy from Spain
Hustle.
and Anthony Edwards. Hustle.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good movie
Yeah.
because it's a small story more about basketball culture than it is about the actual NBA or college basketball. High Flying Bird, movies like that. But movies about teams in sports leagues and stuff like that, they don't work as good anymore because the archetypes of these athletes and stuff, they've been destroyed by what we actually know about them.
Can I pitch you a movie?
Give it to me.
You know how sometimes the rich guys can have their son is on like North Carolina as like the 15th man, and they basically give money to the team and the guy's on the team, but he never plays.
Certainly.
A lot of injuries. That kid gets into a game, does really well, has to like play minutes, and then it turns into a whole nepotism argument. That's all I have so far.
So that's the whole movie.
It's like
No,
Dan,
that's
it's like-
half the movie.
Like Dan Hurley's kid on UConn.
It's a sports movie. I was thinking about the Gonzaga kid who got dunked on, who was the coach's son, and the kid got violently dunked on. And I was thinking, what if there was a scenario where this kid actually came into play during March Madness and was like Ollie from Hoosiers? That's all I have so
And he
far.
starts cooking.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So it's all the Nepo babies maybe combined for
It's
one
Nepo
team.
babies.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe Bronny James plays the son. Well, because you want a skilled basketball player.
Right.
And then you have like a whole meta element to it.
I'm with it.
Nepo ball.
Nepo ball.
I said the word Bronny James and Van's lip just curled. You didn't even know where it was going. You were
Not
you were
sure. The agendas.
casting what ifs.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't find any. Not a lot of info in this movie. There was no oral history. There was no like 20 years later feature. But the deaf guy became Roy from The Office, which was apparently a big deal to people who watch The Office. And then I like to think Andy Reid is the Cowboys coach in the
I
last
like you
scene.
disparaging for people who watch The
I
Office.
just
Like,
don't watch The Office.
You're mad that I
have no
haven't seen
opinion.
Friday Night Lights and you're disparaging The Office?
Listen. I like to pretend Andy Reid is the Cowboys coach in the end. They cut to him a couple times and he looks like Andy Reid.
You know what? I forgot something that aged the worst.
Oh, what is it? Andy Reid?
No. He aged actually the best.
Okay.
Coaches wearing suits.
Mm.
When I watched this, remember Austin was talking about coaches need to wear suits. Everything
Yeah.
Austin says, people go fucking nuts. But like, coaches, coaches wearing suits. When I saw him on the sideline in the suit, I was like, oh, coaches used to wear suits.
Yeah.
But for some reason, when you say Andy Reid,
You know who
never wore
ruined
a
that?
suit.
Mike Nolan on the San Francisco 49ers.
When
he
he
made
came
a
out
big
with
thing
the-
about suits and fedoras, and the team sucked.
Right.
And he got fired in like 2 years, and people were like, we're done with that. Hey, we don't get to this out that often. The Van Lathan Award for did this movie need more black people?
No.
Pretty well represented.
Yeah.
Best that guy. Michael Jace doesn't qualify.
No, he's out.
The assistant coach, looks like a chubby Ed O'Neill.
Oh, he's been around a lot.
He's one of those guys.
Yeah.
His name's Art LaFleur. But I think the winner is Eddie Martell. He's played by some guy named Brett Cullen. I can't name one other thing I've seen him in. If I see him in anything, I just think he's Eddie Martell.
But he's been in a lot of shit, though.
But did you know his name?
No, I didn't. What do I know? What's his? This wouldn't.
You know
be,
him as Eddie Martell. You'd be like, oh my God, that's Eddie Martell.
I'm trying to think.
He's that guy.
He's definitely a that guy. But I think he's a that guy from a different movie. I think of him as somebody from a different movie. I can't think of the movie though. I'm thinking of a Western that I know him from.
He's somewhere.
Maybe I'm tripping. But yeah,
What
he's
about
definitely-
Faison Love?
I think he's Faison Love.
Faison
Yeah.
Love got too much juice
much?
to be. Yeah.
I feel like people my age just to see him as the guy from who plays Santa in Elf.
But Faison Love, remember Faison
Yeah, I
Love
think
that
he's
had
Faison Love.
Yeah, he people from my age think of him as Big Worm from Friday.
Friday, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he's
but
been in
Faison
too many
Love
things.
is the
Deion Waiters
like
Award.
that.
I'll give you Madden and Summerall. I'll give you Jack Warden as the owner, and I'll give you the winners, the two stripper cheerleaders.
The two stripper cheerleaders are up there. I feel like this
They're going to be in the bracket, Craig.
I feel like they're up there.
We're doing a Deion Waiters bracket, like March
You don't
Madness
feel
style.
like Madden and Summerall are the clear winners here, though?
Over the two stripper cheerleaders?
I get it. But Madden and Summerall,
They're pretty great.
they're pretty great on it.
Co-winners.
Yeah.
It's first time ever Madden and Summerall get to share something with two stripper cheerleaders.
We don't know what happened on the road.
Recasting couch director or city. We got to get a different Eddie Martell. I feel like we could have done better. I'll give you a couple choices. Matt Dillon,
Oh, that works.
Steven Weber, single white female.
Yeah.
The guy who's getting the blowjob at the end
Yeah, guy. I'm gonna tell her from
from Wings.
Wings. Yeah, on NBC.
David Duchovny.
doesn't have the football player type.
All right, so you like Matt Dillon.
Matt Dillon or Steven Weber works too.
Okay. Romo Collinsworth or someone else for the director's commentary. I got to be honest. We don't need other announcers. Matt and Summerall are so good in this. I don't know if I would put another announcer in this. Not even Ryan Rucco.
No. Matt and Summerall work perfect. Those guys are the GOATs at what they do. Everybody's chasing them, yeah.
Half-assed internet research. So Shane Falco's meltdown in the 1996 Super Bowl.
Sugar Bowl.
Sugar Bowl. I literally have Sugar Bowl in my notes and somehow fucked that up anyway. There was no Sugar Bowl in 96.
Mm-hmm.
They played on December 31st, 95, and they played on January 2nd, 97.
Oh, wow.
So maybe they used 96 because there was no Sugar Bowl that year.
Maybe so. Something else that, you know who he lost to in the game?
Who?
In the Sugar Bowl?
OSU?
Nah, he lost to, Shane Falco lost to Florida State.
Oh.
Which you talk about something that
Has aged the worst?
Whew,
Yeah.
nobody is losing to Florida State right now.
Are they going to D3, you think?
Florida State is in all-time hell right now.
Yeah, tough one. Keanu gained 23 pounds for his role as Shane Falco. And then apparently in the I Will Survive dance scene, Keanu is replaced by a stunt double who's hiding his face. I don't know if that means Keanu can't dance or maybe he was sick.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe he can't dance. He does all the John Wick Matrix stuff. He can't dance. Can do like 10-minute fight scenes. Can't dance.
Maybe he couldn't. There are times when you see, and it looks like he could be struggling a little bit. The electric slide isn't for the weak.
Apex Mountain, not a lot of candidates here. Keanu, no. Brooke Langton, no. I still think it's Melrose Place. Madden and Summerall,
Hell no.
Jack Warden, no. It's nose around, except for throwing a trophy football underwater. I'd never seen that before.
Yeah.
Scabs?
Scabs, movies about scabs.
Movies about scabs,
no
definitely.
movies celebrate scabs. If you think about any movie about labor celebrates labor. Celebrates like Norma Ray.
It's
all
Norma
of those
Ray,
movies.
yeah.
This is the apex mountain of movies about scabs that I can think about.
21st century football movies?
Remember the
Friday
Titans.
Night Lights. Remember the Titans. Well,
Just
getting buried.
mentioning it.
Yeah.
I think it's probably Friday Night Lights.
Yeah,
but you
Friday
could
Night
also talk me to
Lights.
Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans.
Which goes back to my original point. All these movies are early 2000s.
Yeah.
Like we haven't had anything since. Well, this is one of the best Cruiser Hankses we've ever had.
I agree.
Cruz as Shane Falco is unbelievable. I also feel like 80s Hanks could have played Shane Falco, but I'm going with Cruz, and I think he's the right answer.
I think he's the clear answer. Either guy could have done it, but like
this is an amazing Cruz. This is basically Cocktail crossed with Cruz being a replacement strike quarterback.
Nothing to Keanu. Love him.
Yeah.
If Cruz is in this movie, it makes $150 million.
I think more.
You think so?
Yeah, 200 million.
Yeah.
I don't think he could have thrown the throwing scenes. I'm just judging from War of the Worlds when he's trying to throw the baseball. I don't know if he could have done the quarterback stuff.
He's also very small.
Yeah.
And
he
so
would have to be like a Kyler Murray.
Yeah, he's going to scrambling around. It's going to be a whole.
That's why he
Doug
lost
Flutie.
the Sugar Bowl because
that's why he didn't get
just got
drafted.
killed. He didn't get drafted. He's too short.
He's too small for the game.
There's Doug Flutie biases. Remember Doug Flutie didn't get a job for a while? I think it's Cruz. Racehorse, rock band, wrestler, fantasy team name. Wild Yams is pretty good.
Yeah, Wild Yams.
Yeah.
I just had yams, but
Pickin' Nits.
I like yams.
So Shane's All-American trophy is just at the bottom of the ocean under a boat?
He obviously threw it there.
Nothing happened to it? It's just still there?
I mean, what do you mean nothing happened to it?
Why did he throw it there? Was that his boat?
Well, he's cleaning boats, but he also lives out there. So I think
So he got drunk and threw his trophy
he got
out?
drunk, or he's moving on from football.
Wouldn't have sold the trophy. We have eBay in 2000.
He threw his trophy down there. The only question is him seeing his trophy and then wanting to play with it again after that, maybe. But it's clear he threw the trophy off the boat into the ocean.
So they have a strike. The players go on strike. The cheerleaders also went on strike?
Yeah, the cheerleaders.
The cheerleaders are in the National Football League Players Union?
Yeah, solidarity.
What?
Yeah, they decided to do it, whatever.
Nigel Gruff kicks a 65-yard field goal to win the game, which would have been a record by 2 yards. Like maybe go 61. Like settle down. You're not beating Tom Dempsey in 2000. Shane Falco is recovering onside kicks? He's out there in that formation?
Yeah.
No, he's on the other side. He's trying to get the onside kick.
Oh wait. Oh yeah. Well. Oh yeah. No,
Yeah.
he's on. Yeah, he's on the receiving. Wait, he's trying to get it. Oh, he's on the
Their
kickoff
onside
team.
kicking team. He's
Right,
on the
right, right,
kickoff
right,
team.
right.
He's the quarterback. They're
Yeah.
not doing that. Why wouldn't Shane have stayed on as backup QB for the last game?
Why did he leave?
They only
And-
had one QB?
By the way, that's another thing. He's their starting QB and their holder, which happens sometimes.
Yeah.
It hadn't happened since Romo, right? Nobody else is.
Romo killed it.
Romo killed it, but he just decides, okay, I'm too good to be the backup, and they don't seem to have a backup quarterback on the team. They seem to be one deep at quarterback.
It's a hole. Again, sports movie consultant agency fixes that pretty quick. Why does Eddie Martell care about Annabelle the bartender in that scene where she's like, she's too good for you, Shane?
Something
Are
got
there
cut.
like 5 scenes missing?
Something
Why
got
is
cut.
he involved? Did he used to date her? And if he did used to date her, why not have that scene?
Yeah, something got cut. Something got cut because
But put it back.
he just throws that out there as if he cares about who she sees or whatever. And he also,
well, obviously they dated.
I know, but he also knows that they've got something going on, which there's no indication in the movie that anybody knows that, really.
Right. It's a hole. My guess is it was another cliche scene, and they're like, we're already at 8. We
Right.
can't also have Eddie Martell dating Keanu's new girlfriend.
There could have been like a whole storyline where Keanu doesn't go to meet her because he finds out that she slept with Eddie Martell as well. Or
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
Eddie Martell is the reason why she doesn't date football players, especially quarterbacks.
That's clearly the answer.
Yeah.
Why did Madden and Summerall announce every Washington game? They didn't move them around. There wasn't a Giants game. Just 4 straight weeks of they're doing Washington games.
Right.
Thought it was suspicious. It could have worked in Gus Johnson maybe for a game.
Mhm.
All right, here's the big one. Well, do you have other ones?
I have a huge one.
It
Were
might be
they
the same one.
only team with replacements?
Well, they say how Dallas's whole team crossed.
Right. Well, they're
So
playing.
we're supposed to think the whole league was using replacement players, right?
Well, yeah, except for the fact that they play other guys and they list off their accolades.
Yeah,
They say this guy did this, or maybe that was just Dallas.
maybe.
Maybe that was just Dallas, but the movie actually, the whole movie is actually a huge nit. But it is. But that was my big one. My big one was it was unclear to me how many teams were actually
Yeah, we're
using-
missing a Sports Center scene where
Yeah.
like Rich Eisen's telling us how 240 of the 300 whatever offensive players or scabs or whatever.
Right.
Here's the big one.
One more thing for me.
Okay.
Shane Falco fucks off one college football game. Like what kind of prospect was he? He fucks off one college football game.
So I have this in unanswerable questions.
Okay.
How bad was his box score in that game?
It doesn't matter how bad it was.
We know he lost by 45 points.
Yeah.
Would you say over or under 5.5 turnovers? You're going over or under?
Well, they lost 45-0, so he had to give them some points.
So if I said 2 lost fumbles,
Yeah.
3 picks plus a pick 6,
Right.
6 turnovers,
Yeah.
and a fumble touchdown and a pick 6 as 2 of the 6 turnovers,
Yeah.
and it's so bad that he literally can't get drafted.
So no one drafts him.
Does he take a shit on the field?
What's
He gets hit. He just like loses his bowels. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen to him in this game?
to where no one touches him. He didn't even.
Does he start crying?
He doesn't even
Like
get
a little league
chance.
World Series person?
Does he walk off the field during the
Does he
game?
leave the game?
Yeah.
Here's my biggest nitpick. Shane Falco watches the first half of the big game on his boat.
Uh-huh.
And the half ends, and Gene Hackman's coming off the field, and they're like, what happened the first half? What are you missing? He's like, heart. And Shane Falco's watch is like, heart, right here. And Shane Falco turns off the TV. He's at the dock. 3 minutes later, he's in the locker room. A, how close was the dock to the football stadium? B, even if you get there, you got to park in the players' parking lot. You're running through. It's 25 minutes minimum,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
He's there in 4 minutes. And they're like, we hope We hope nobody notices this. Well, it's like, guess what? You're on TNT now for 24 fucking years. It's absurd. He should have left at the end of the first quarter.
This is why we need Mallory, because the only question I have is, if this is Baltimore.
Well, it's Washington in Baltimore. Yeah.
Washington in
Baltimore pretending to be
that
Washington.
fucking changes it then.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I was going to say maybe if it's Baltimore, then you're around the Bay.
It's
and then
25 minutes minimum.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried.
So the move should have been, if we were the sports movie consultant agency on this one, it'd be like, no, make it so a Gene Hackman interview at the end of the first quarter.
Right.
When it's 17-0. Then he turns off the TV and leaves.
But he's listening to the game on the radio, so he could hear it kind of like in Moneyball.
Yeah.
Where Brad Pitt is listening to the game. He goes back, yeah.
Sequel, prequel, Prestige TV, all black cast, or Untouchable.
Leave it alone.
Prestige TV, you could talk me into.
Really?
Yeah. Like you know how they do American Sports Story, and it's like this season it's Aaron Hernandez. Maybe it's just every season's about scab replacement players. We just do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Is this movie better with Wayne Jenkins, Danny Trejo, Sid Goldberg, Sam Jackson, J.T. Walsh, Nell, Byron Mayo, Harling Mays, Evil Laughing Ramon Raymond, Long Legs, or Philip Baker Hall? Can I give you Sam Jackson as the defensive assistant?
I was about to say, go ahead and go for the Sam Jackson. Go for it.
The movie needs Sam Jackson.
I agree. Give it to us.
Deep Blue Sea cameo Sam Jackson. He's just 4 scenes. Sam, here's $1 million. Just 4 scenes, 2 days.
Yeah.
Just stand on the sidelines and be like, what the fuck are we doing? And do a couple Sam Jackson things.
No.
What do you want him to do?
No. I want you to do something. It's a new America. Things are different now.
Oh, Sam Jackson is Hackman.
No, give us your best Sam Jackson. When this
It's a new America.
What
does that mean?
When this, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. When this happens, I normally get my man CR somewhere. I normally get a voice. You got to give us a Sam Jackson.
So maybe maybe at halftime, Shane Falco comes in and he's like, "Oh, I got it." And Eddie Martell says, "Get out of the locker room." We go back and forth, and then Sam Jackson turns to Eddie Martell and goes, "I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing."
I like it.
That's it.
That's it.
It's got 5 lines.
Mm-hmm.
Just one Oscar. Who gets it? I'm going to go with the rare nobody. There are no Oscars given out for this movie.
I want to go with nobody, but if you had to do it in the spirit, Hackman is the only person taking the movie seriously.
Probably unanswerable questions. We did Shane Falco's box score. What kind of business was this for Annabelle? This bar that she had to close every time there was a football game. I'm just worried about her financially.
Right.
So I would think the football game would be a big night at the bar.
Are we sure that she's the only person that works there though? Maybe
she's literally the only. They don't even have like barbacks or another bartender or busboys, anything.
Yeah.
She's closing it herself. There's no bouncer.
I made up a whole backstory.
Whoa, okay. What is it?
So Annabelle is the owner's daughter, but not through his marriage.
Illegitimate.
Boom. Annabelle is the owner's illegitimate daughter.
See, we made Annabelle so much interesting just in this podcast.
Just
She's
on this
dated
podcast.
Eddie Martell.
Yep.
She's going to turn into Fatal Attraction. She's the owner's daughter. That's great. I love it.
He gave her a bar. She wants to be close to him, so she cheerleads, also to bother him a little bit.
Yeah.
So she doesn't really need the money when the bar closes for the games.
Best use of Every Breath You Take. I will give you Stranger Things, Billions, Risky Business, The Replacements, or Sopranos, first episode, season 3.
Sopranos, first episode, season 3 by a mile. But
That's my answer as well.
I'll listen to Risky Business, though.
Okay. Best double feature choice. So you go Unnecessary Roughness right into this so you can compare and contrast.
No, I thought about it, but I actually go Any Given Sunday because these are the last gasps of the NFL football movie. Yeah.
You could also talk me into Hardball, the Keanu double feature.
Sports double feature. Did he do another sports movie after? These are his only 2 sports movies, Hardball and this one.
Does Point Break count? No.
Yeah, it is. It's surfing and football.
Yeah, it's
kind of, yeah.
The Andy and Red Zwane Award would happen the next day. So what does Shane Falco's next few years of his career look like? He's 26 or 27. Looked pretty good in these replacement games.
Yeah.
Can he catch on as a backup for like in Pittsburgh? He's Cordell Stewart, 3rd string quarterback. Maybe get some time for like a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
He gets a Matt Flynn-like deal.
Matt Flynn, yeah, maybe
Goes to a new
starts
team,
3 games.
Out of the league in 3 years.
Yeah.
The Lions get excited about him. I feel like he has at least 10 NFL starts.
I have Shane Falco founds FanDuel.
Interesting.
Goes a different way. He talks to the guy about gambling, the kicker.
Yeah.
They start talking about it. He gets in on the ground
His
floor.
wheels start turning.
Wheels start turning. He's giving the picks right now. It's combine this movie with 2 for the Money. That's his future.
I like it. What piece of memorabilia would you want from this movie? The Shane Falco jersey would be pretty great.
I want the trophy.
Trophy's great.
Yeah.
I like the hat.
Oh, the hat
would be good. Yeah,
but
that,
you know
that
what?
Washington hat.
Their merch is cool.
Yeah,
Like
I like their
yeah.
merch. Coach Finstock Award for Best Life Lesson. Pain heals, chicks dig scars,
That's
glory
decent.
lasts forever. Who won the movie?
This is a tough one.
I had a lot of, I put question marks.
This is a tough one.
I don't feel like Keanu won it.
I don't feel like he won it either. This is the most.
Can we say Brooke Langton won it? I think everybody loves her in this movie. And I think the common refrain is like, why didn't, so she was in Swinger, she was in Melrose Place, she had like a 10-year run.
This is the least leady part from a leading man I've ever seen. I don't feel like Keanu won this movie. If anything, Scabs won it, but
The
I could go
stripper
for him.
cheerleaders?
Stripper cheerleaders could win it. I'm into that.
Yeah. Who won the movie, Craig?
I finished this movie because of Brooke. I probably would have bailed had she not been in this film.
Desperate to know what you think.
Yeah, all right, let's hear it.
This one might be only a rewatchable because it's not a watchable.
It's not a first-time watch.
You can't watch this movie for the first time in 2024. And honestly, it's not even because of like the problematic stuff. Like,
Yeah.
there are plenty of movies that have problematic stuff that came out a long time ago that you can still watch now and appreciate. This one's just not good. This one's like, this is like someone else's hand-me-down.
Yeah.
You know?
This was my reaction when I saw it in 2000.
Right. It's
like, this movie's not good. They
it's
didn't really
just-
try that
There's
hard.
no charm for me. It's somebody else giving me a hand-me-down from their family. And I'm like, this doesn't mean anything to me.
What is your favorite older football movie?
This movie came out the same time as, it came out a month before Remember the Titans. That's my favorite sports movie. That and
there
like
you go.
Sandlot, probably.
So this is why we call it the Wear Me Down Rewatchable.
Right.
But
It took literally 7-8 years for me to admit that I kind of secretly enjoyed this movie.
I think the reason why this movie is weird is because it's like trying to be Dodgeball and also a little bit of Remember the Titans, and it doesn't pick a side. I think Remember the Titans and Sandlot and a lot of those movies have like real like values you can take from it. This movie doesn't have any of that.
But this is what the early 90s sports movies were like.
But then they should have just leaned in and like, I think Gene Hackman is miscast. I think they should have went even sillier and just made it completely slapstick because Hackman tries to reel you back in and make it a real movie and it's not.
I agree with that.
This movie doesn't know what it is.
It doesn't. It kind of don't know what movie they're making. Because even the Sandlot is a movie where a lot of funny stuff happens.
Totally.
But the Sandlot is really about something.
It's coming of age.
Coming of age.
And yet, it came out a month ago after a basketball game, and both of us started watching it.
What?
Because
I like the movie.
I know, but
this?
so what? But how did it break us down?
You know
is
what the
the
reality-
enduring question of this.
You know what the reality is? And, it gets thrown around a lot. A movie just doesn't have to be good for you to like it.
Yeah.
You can like a movie for all kinds of reasons. It can be amusing. It can be funny in spots. This movie is not a good movie, but it is incredibly watchable.
Most
doesn't-
pieces of content are just tied to when you saw it and how it made you feel and what age you were. It's like why people's favorite music is always the music they listened to when they were in high school or college. It doesn't mean it's the best.
This movie is funny though.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's funny. It's like she's beautiful. It has stuff to look at. I like Keanu Reeves. I like Gene Hackman.
But
It's not a movie I won't watch.
The big sign to me is that TNT, TBS, like it's still on.
Because people still want to watch it.
People still watch it because they study this shit and they're like, every time we put the replacements on, it keeps whatever rating.
Yeah.
Also,
least a little bit.
I just thought about this when you guys were talking, so I could be wrong. This might not be fully baked, but I think sports movies about professional sports are worse. You know?
You mean worse like in life or just like
No, like the movie's just not as good. I feel like it's harder to work. Everyone's older. If it's about professional sports, the characters are older. There's like a business element that's not that fun. It's not coming of age. When I think to all the best sports movies, they're always about kids or like college.
high school or college?
High school
or college,
pros,
yeah.
it never
Like you
what's
loved Rudy.
Yeah, Rudy. What's the best pro sports movie?
None of them have 100% worked. Any given Sunday.
Major League?
Oh, Major League is by
Oh, you're
far the
saying
best
any
one.
sport.
Yeah, any sport.
Oh, Major League is by far the best thing.
Yeah.
Major League, but you know
Well,
what?
slap shot.
I'd say that like about movies, if you're talking about baseball movies though, baseball movies might be better when they're about pro baseball.
Well, it's because there is no
there's
college
not.
baseball is not a thing
Right.
that people
So
follow.
The Natural,
Or you have
So
to go
there-
down to kids.
Where do you stand on Eddie?
the fucking movie with
The Whoopi Goldberg coaches the Knicks.
Yeah.
Comes out of the stands movie.
I've
That's
seen
kind
it.
of like this movie to me, where there was this silly sports movie era that kept going until, I don't know, early 2000s.
Where do you
and died.
stand on Celtic pride?
It's terrible. It's really bad.
Yeah.
I would say if it was about any team, it's just not a good movie.
Yeah.
It's not a fun hang.
It's a weird one, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really like
It's
it.
also, this movie's 2 hours. Why is this movie 2 hours long? This movie needs to be
Craig,
140
thumbs down
max.
from Craig.
Boy, that's
Craig
what I'm
and
talking about,
Ebert.
Craig. Yeah.
You know what's funny? Craig's going to text me like 6 years from now. He's like, you know what? Replacements was on tonight.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in now.
I'm on Pluto and I'm drunk. Replacements.
I'm on Elon's rocket watching the Replacements.
No, I'm the streaming service, not the planet.
Eating ice cream pellets. Pluto the planet. Oh, you can tell me either Pluto. All right, that's it for the Rewatchables, produced by Craig Horlbeck. You can watch this on the Ringer Movies YouTube channel. Thanks to Van Lathan. See you next week.